that came up during the lecture was the idea that we shouldn't have interfaith dialogue in the U.S., that it should be interfaith action. And I think that speaks a lot to how the Muslim American community has to rise and engage with their fellow neighbors, engage like in the political process, and that we can't, like as a Muslim American, that you have to represent yourself in a certain way, and you have to engage with certain coalitions, and not just, have your faith, not wear your faith on your sleeve and make it a part of you, kind of, and not hide from who you are. And I thought that was really interesting, and that we should be beyond just talking, and it should be more action, right? Like the idea of the melting pot, and is it really a melting pot or a solid form? What does that entail? Like all these terms kind of coming together and like questioning them and turning them on their head was what I got out of the lecture. Like, what do these terms mean?
Great. What kind of action are you thinking?
Well, I thought I was more comfortable as a Muslim in a Catholic school than here at a public university, because I was able to engage with people at, like the same level, while here I feel like UCLA is more what a real world entails. You're in a bigger community, and it's harder to make those actions, to take those actions, so maybe just confidence in yourself to go out there and like make those connections with other people. In terms of like being, involved in the political process and lobbying, etc., things like that, right? Like the only organization that comes to mind when I think of lobbying is CARE, and CARE has such a huge stigma, I think, in the mainstream media as being kind of more of a left-wing radical organization. So, like what is the voice, the question of like what is the voice of moderate Islam, and, like having more varied types of people come on the social, like the public sphere, I think is important.
Okay,
Sorry.
Go ahead and hold the microphone.
Okay.
What do you think of, how would you define what Sharia is?
Excuse me?
How would you define what Sharia is?
To me, Sharia, when I think of it, I guess I'm not a particularly well-versed Muslim. Like when I think of Sharia, I think of the law that governs countries like Saudi Arabia or Iran and certain countries like that. And I fundamentally I believe in separation of church and state, so I guess I don't believe in Sharia. I don't know, that's probably going to not be good, but I really don't. I don't believe, I think I'm really staunchly in support of a distinct separation between church and state. So I don't necessarily ascribe to those beliefs.
So you see that your faith should govern your personal life and
exactly.
society.
I really like to separate what I personally believe from how I engage in the public sphere. I think the way my beliefs shouldn't have an influence necessarily on the way that someone else chooses to live their life.
That's great. Thanks a lot.
Thanks.
Can you tell me your name?